waiting or having some technical issues, I just wanted to record the session. And ISO is the world's largest developer of voluntary international standards and was founded in 1947. It has established or published or issued or allocated more than 22,000 standards. Like every industrial setup is being monitored, assessed, evaluated, and analyzed by the International Standardization Organization, and the standards are being developed against those steps. And there are 162 members from across the globe, and its general uh, 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 members. There are three categories of members, like we have full members, correspondent members, and then subscriber members. This is environmental management system, ISO 14001 2015's inclusion in ISO's standards list. Full members are those who directly participate in the development of these standards. Like they face a problem, they send this problem to the ISO's team. The ISO's core team analyzes the problem and then devises a solution. Then it resends or sends back that solution or the protocol to the stakeholders, and those stakeholders are like again implementing as a pilot scale, and then it becomes a standard after the approval of the main stakeholders. The correspondent members are also observing all these activities whenever they feel that they should be into the full member list. They adopt and they fully agree to the ISO's protocols, and they start implementing the ISO standards within their countries as well. Subscriber members are volunteer members who are like observing. They are not putting any efforts into the development of any standard, and they just look at the activities to maybe building and to understand the process also join as full member once they develop their capacity. These are the office secretariats across the globe of ISO International Standardization Organization. It can be a useful tool to add credibility by demonstrating that your product or service meets the expectations of customers. As well. If you are trading across the globe, you are exporting your products, then it can become the legal requirement of your client that you must have international standardization organizations 14,001 2015 standard in place at your industry. ISO directly doesn't perform the certification. Basically, the phenomena works in a way that there are independent registered auditors who can conduct the audit practices at different industries, and their reports can be evaluated by the ISO, and then the confirmation or their recommendation can get the ISO standard for the particular industry. So ISO does not have that much staff to review all the reports from across the globe to award the certifications. So there is a wide range of opportunity for the environmentalists as well, that they can become the environmental auditors. There are a lot of organizations in our country who are providing these expertise, and you can opt these diplomas and certifications and become the lead auditors for the conduct of audit in different industries. This is the hierarchy of environmental management system, in which there is the organization evaluation and then the product evaluation. If you are going to analyze a particular product like this bottle of water has its own life cycle. If you are going to conduct a life cycle assessment of this plastic bottle, you would be considering the acquisition of raw material, then the processes which were implemented to devise or to manufacture this bottle. Then the bottle comes to the consumer's hand. He or she maybe uses it and then throws it to the dump or the bin. This is the entire life cycle of a product. This is called as life cycle assessment. It's a product's life cycle, and it is called as LCA, and its standard is exhibiting a different code. But when you come to the environmental management system, it is not the evaluation of a particular product. It's the evaluation of your entire organization. EMS would be considering all the activities and phenomena which are being conducted at this manufacturer's vicinity. So the organizational environmental evaluation is called as environmental management system. If we conduct the evaluation of a particular graduate, the graduate is the product of to implement the environmental management system within the industrial or your organization. These are different standards, and environmental management system is the very basic and first standard which starts the ISO 14,000 family. Basically, ISO 14,000 family targets the environmental improvement with different codes and different titles. Similarly, ISO 9000 targets the management strategies. If you look at ISO 31,000, 50,000, those are targeting the health and safety or maybe energy audit related things. So ISO 14,000 basically targets the environmental management and environmental improvement. These are some other categories. These are the basic terminologies for the environmental management systems like continual improvement. We all know that non-stop improvement is called as continual improvement. And environmental aspect and impact are two different things. Like if a particular action or product has some potential to harm the environment, then it is the aspect of that particular item. When the consequence has happened, it becomes the impact. Like global warming and climate change are very common examples of both these terminologies. The climate change is aspect and the global warming is its impact. Environmental management system, as I already mentioned, that it is a complete and comprehensive system which allocates different roles and responsibilities to different uh, uh, officers or the individuals or the professionals to conduct their roles for effective environmental improvement. A standard is a protocol or the procedure which is issued by the ISO and implemented by the industries. It's a volunteer approach, and the exact benefits can be traced. This is the mechanism how a standard can be developed or devised, or how ISO works to devise a particular standard. As I mentioned that there is a need in the market that we are facing this problem and we need to improve this problem. Then this problem goes to the ISO, and ISO ISO's central and it committee those problems, and they formulate the procedures, and then those procedures are implemented by the industries. This is the entire chain of the implementation of these procedures. If you look at the business opportunities or benefits for a business holder, if the owner of a particular business establishes an environmental management system within his or her industry, it will be cutting the overall input costs. It will be generating the customer's satisfaction that this organization is quite aware of the environmental improvement or the harms being conducted by their operations, and they are very serious regarding the improvement of all these activities. Access to the new market, the business owner would be accessing new markets where the ISO 14001's implementation is mandatory. If he establishes an environmental management system within his industry, he would be able to access those markets and he would be able to sell or export his items to those countries as well. So he would be getting more and more contracts, which would be ensuring more business, which is the basic need or basic intention of the business. If we look at the consumer side, what is the benefit of an environmental management system to a particular customer? A customer, when knows that this particular organization is implementing the ISO 14001 2015 within its vicinity, he becomes satisfied with the product. Like he is satisfied with the environmental friendly approach is being adopted by the industry, and he will be preferring that particular product as compared to the product which is being manufactured at a facility which is not considering the environmental management system. Unfortunately, uh, here in Pakistan, it is rare to evaluate in this way. Our parameter is the base price of a particular product. While if we look at the global phenomena, everybody looks at the manufacturing processes or the environmental improvement approach which is being adopted by the industry. And they would be preferring those products which are being manufactured by the consideration of the environmental harms. If an organization is conducting its operations aligned with the environmental friendly approaches, the customers or the consumers would be intending to get those products frequently. And if you get maximum customers, obviously it's another approach to get maximum profits. So in this case, again, the profit is being increased by that particular organization with the implementation of a single standard. Now, what is the benefit of the environmental management system implementation to the governments? I have my own business. I implement the EMS. I have extended my customer group. So we both are in win-to-win situation that customer wants an environmental friendly organization. I want maximum profits. So we both have got our fruits. What is the benefit to the governments? The governments would be getting expert opinion without hiring or recruiting the international technical experts to devise the of the world trade and their GDP, the overall improvement of the economic setup of the country. Then what exactly is ISO 14,000 used by any company, any size, anywhere. It's a volunteer approach and represents a shift to proactive thinking and acting. It is not a product standard. It doesn't focus on a particular product. It focuses on the environmental performance of an organization. A lot of people are joining us back to back. So sorry for inconvenience. I have to incorporate all those respected participants as well. It does not establish values for pollutants or the performance levels. Like our government state the national environmental quality standard that a particular pollution level must reach to this level, and after that it would be penalized. So environmental management system doesn't consider these things. They don't set a certain threshold for a particular parameter. It does not establish test methods. It won't be giving you the protocols or procedures to conduct a certain test or certain laboratory test. It does not require to establish a final performance goal. It is always considering the continuous improvement. So there is not a particular stage or a goal that if we have met this criteria, then we are like the champions of the environmental management systems implementation. It's not like that. You have to reconsider your activities and
Can
you
you
have to
please
upgrade the
repeat the last
environmental
slide?
performance on a repeated basis. It does not require to reach the zero emissions. You cannot achieve the zero emissions with the environmental management systems implementation. It does not require you to disclose the audit results. It's a volunteer approach. It doesn't penalize you. It doesn't require on regular or regulatory basis that you must be having the environmental management system within your organization. So it's a volunteer approach, and they won't be compelling you to disclose your confidential audit results. It provides you an opportunity to upgrade or to continuously improve in repeated cycles your environmental performance. And we can achieve with the implementation of this standard, we can achieve the internal objectives like it can provide assurance to the management that it is in control of the organizational processes and activities having an impact on the environment are being considered and monitored and analyzed by our team on effective basis. It can assure employees that they are working for an organization which is responsible for the environmental improvement. So the employees would be feeling an honor to work with such organization, with an organization which is not considering their health and safety considerations as well as the environmental upgradation. So it can add value to your employees' morale and their approach towards the conduct of your activities. Similarly, the external objectives of organization can also be assessed in terms of their achievement. Like external stakeholders in which we, as we discussed, that customers would be satisfied. The community would be praising your efforts that you are conducting a very good approach towards the environmental improvement, and the regulatory agencies like environmental protection agencies in Pakistan. In case of Pakistan, we have EPAs. They would be feeling relaxed that these organizations are already meeting the requirements of our standards. So there is no need to emphasize much things on these type of organizations. So you would be relaxed as well in terms of their coordination and communication, because you have already practiced and implemented the environmental management system. It can comply with the environmental regulations as well. So it can be as well about its own environmental policies, whatever is being committed or promised by the organization. The organization is acting on those promises. Provides a framework a business certification of conformity by an independent certification body. Telling or emphasizing your suppliers that we are an environmental responsible organization, we would be preferring those suppliers who are following the footsteps of this organization. Like you must take care of the environment when you supply these raw materials to us. We won't be buying any material raw considering the environmental upgradation. So those who are not considering be supplier that they must an environmental management system in place for the upgradation of environment. Similarly, you are open for the external audits. You invite the external audits. They evaluate. They monitor. They observe your practices. They monitor your practices for many days. Then they come up with a report uh, which is not a biased report, not it is not like criticizing the industrial operations or nor it is favoring the environmental performance in terms of unnecessary exaggerations. So it's a neutral approach report, and it would be a tool for the further upgradation of that industry. So it's another benefit which can be achieved by the implementation of environmental management system within the organization. And its sequence of activities are quite simple, like a PDCA cycle in which we plan things according to the laws, rules, and regulations, and our environmental policy is well aligned with our state regulation, and internal performance criteria have been like set. The environmental objective and targets have been identified and communicated to the environmental management team. Teams are responsible for the establishment and the development of the environmental programs. Like HR would be following these type of programs. Operations department would be following these things in terms of the environmental upgradation. The average area would be following these instructions. So all these programs are according to the need of that particular department, and then these are communicated to the heads of those departments, which are already in the team of the environmental management system, and they are responsible for the implementation of these environmental programs. Then we after the implementation, we monitor all these plans and then act accordingly. Wherever is the requirement of an improvement, the environmental management system is broader enough to accept all those improvements and to implement all those improvements. So with this, I conclude my session, and I would like to give an opportunity to my respected guest that he must share his knowledge with the respected audience. If you guys have any question, you can please raise your hand and I would be taking those questions. And the people who are online can also ask questions, no matter they are like they want to ask the questions here in this meeting or in our WhatsApp group. I would be available for the answers. Any questions? Okay. Keep checking the people who are in the lobby so that they can join later us. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope this information will be helpful for all the participants. Next speaker for today's event is Mr. Jahangir Khan, Director, International Safety and Technical Services, ISTS Islamabad, Manager, HSE Qatar Airways from 1999 to 2022. Please give him a round of applause.
Share कर दो. Can you guys see the other presentation as well? Please confirm so that we can proceed with the presentation. Or should I reshare it? I think I should reshare it so that. All right. It would be creating some problem. All right. So yes, as well. So you can start. Yes. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are you here? Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting. Thank you, Dr. Sir. And actually, I just moved to here, and today I was on the way, and I see you all are with the challenge on the road, and you reached here with some, and now we are okay. And I want this session interactive. Actually, I want to talk with you. I don't want to present only. Okay. So we will discuss, and we will be here to learn something. You can ask me the question, and then you can raise your hand. You can ask the question, and I will answer you. And the purpose is there should be some learning, and there should be some effective knowledge on that. Okay. So you know my name? No. My name is Jahangir Khan. You can call me anything. You can call me Jahangir or Khan, and what is, but it's up to you. Okay. No worries about it. Okay, so we'll discuss two areas today. Actually, I have experience in the quality, environment, and health and safety, and also I have qualifications. And we always integrate environment and health and safety, especially for industry. And we will discuss the same today. And we are going to discuss the practical information on that, the environmental management system and the ISO 14001 and the auditing. Special, I will discuss the audit part for you guys, and you will learn what is the auditing and how you will conduct the auditing. And remember that in the management system, you go any industry, anywhere, there are three areas. First is the management system. Second is the assessments. What is the assessment? That is the EIA and expect and impact assessment, and also risk assessment. Risk assessment, the occupational health and safety, and EIA and expect and impact assessment in the environment. And third part is auditing, because you have to check, you have to verify, you have to confirm your system is effective. And we'll discuss today these both things. Okay. So why EMS is important? This is very interesting question. Why we have the EMS? You should know what are the problem, what is environmental management system in your organization. Okay. And why it is important? Because if you want to improve and you want to implement the effective management system and the effective system, then EMS is very important. Okay. And EMS the major part of any management system. I tell you things. If you start from the any organization, from procurement department up to the waste area, this whole cycle, it's all covered in the system. Okay. And this is very important when you start from A to Z. This all steps you have to check the environmental requirements. And this is the major part of any management system. requirement. This is not only in this country, this is across the world. And because I done the audit in many countries and we review all these things. We start from the we start from the procurement, we start from the human resource, we check the people competency about the environment, we check the procurement, we check the implementation, we check the how they go for other functions. So identify the causal environmental problem, eliminate them, improve the communication, and assign the responsibility, save money, make good business sense, and to meet the compliance. First part is the problem, but second part is very important, the communication and assign the responsibilities. Remember that when you are implementing EMS and you are implementing, the major part is communication. When we check the systems, when we check the companies, we always found the gap in the communication. We always found the gap. The people are not communicated properly. When people are communicating, that was not the effective way. Okay, and when they were communicated after that, that was not followed up. That was not recommunication and all that, and that was the major issue. And they signed the responsibility. Always the issue is the responsibility. People are not given the responsibility. And if they were given the responsibility, the another issue is they are not given the authorities. Remember that when you given the responsibility, when you have the responsibility, you must have the authorities. Otherwise, you will not be able to implement your responsibility. So check that. If you have a responsibility, you have the authority, you have the resources for that. And that is very important. That is the EMS, and that is required in the EMS. And the next part, the save the money, dollars, really, that is very important because when you talk the EMS and you speak parallel the money and the dollars, how you can save the money, then people will listen, the management will listen, the government and the organization will listen, and that is the way to go to meet the importance of the EMS. This is the EMS model. You all should know about this, and it's very important. You all already it is discussed, but I'll give you some understanding what is that. Who worked before on EMS? You can raise the hand if anybody worked on the EMS before. Environmental management system. In any case, if you prepare the report or if you implement it somewhere or you work as a trainer or as a somewhere, you all are student, but I think you have the involvement. Can you raise your hand? Any? You know about the EMS? You know about the EMS? Yeah, you all knows, I know, but you are recalling, I know. You are recalling where it was. Yes, you know. So remember that in EMS, the important part is the policy. Okay, and when you start this EMS with the policy, you must have the policy in your organization, and that is the basic requirement. And after that, you start with the planning. What is the planning? I want to speak with you guys. Actually, if I will speak and you will listen only, after time you will sleep. You can understand. So I want to listen. Can you tell me what is the planning? Okay, so planning is the part where we start the EMS. Okay, where we'll start what is the EMS, how we will implement the EMS. This is the important part. Actually, in the organization, when organization set the goals or objectives to start implementation of EMS, they start with the planning. There are different plans on the different levels. On the top level, there are different plans. Then the implementation level, the plan, and then after that, how you will monitor that EMS. So there are the planning part. After that, there is the implementation. Implementation is very important, and effective implementation is very important. Remember that, and remember that the effectiveness word in your qualification also. If you are studying something, if that is effectively you are learning something, that is important. If you are not learning effectively, then what will happen? After some time, you will lose all that part. So this is very important. When you implement the EMS, you implement any system, any man system, even if you are implementing this educational part for EMS, that you should verify the importance of the effectiveness of that, because effectiveness is always important for any level of the managed system, even in the planning, how it will be the effective, and also the implementation. After that, the checking. So what is the implementation? Implementation, the major part start with the training. Then you start with the setting the processes, and the processes like you have the waste management process, you have the what you call this, the energy saving process, You have the different other process related to water conservation. You have the process related to what you call this, the what you call this, um, this testing for this emissions. So you have the different process in the organization. So you have to know you implemented all these processes effectively in your as per the requirement. Remember that when you are in university, there are processes are different. When you are in the industry, processes are different in different industry. Even in the same type of industry, in the same different countries, the processes will be different. So now you are going to be the safe environmental engineers, and you are going to implement. So you must know all this information, how you will go in the industry. And if you have the experience with one industry, it's not mean you can implement the same process in the other industry. You must have the knowledge of the next industry. That is very important, and that is you should have to gain before going to the industry. Okay, what is the checking? Checking is related to when you implement the system. Like you start with the training, you start with the communication, then processing, then implementation. Then now you see the processes are there on the system. Okay, you have the waste management process, you have the procurement process, you have other processes, and now you have to check. What you will check? There are two ways to check. One is the inspection, another is the auditing, and we are going to discuss the auditing part. And that is very important, and you will learn today what is the auditing really, and that will be the interesting part. Who is the auditor in this area? You have ever done any audit? No? Okay. So today you will learn the audit, and you will be the auditor. And really, I'm the lead auditor. I audited more than 100 companies across the world, and that is very interesting job. That is very really that is the core of the managed system. If you go for as an auditor, you go to check the as an auditor, you review as an auditor. That is the core part of the managed system, and you will learn this thing today. Next is the management review after the check. Okay, inspection and auditing. First, you go to check through the inspection, and inspection is just walk around. You go outside, you check in the industry what is going on, what activities are going on, and then on the basis of that activity, you decide where we are now, where the implementation level of the system. Okay, and then after that there is the audit, and the audit is always in organized activity. Audit is a different activity, and we are going to discuss how we conduct the audit and what is the auditing. And after that, after the auditing, there is the management review. Management review is conducted after checking the managed system. So there are different way to check the system. I discuss inspection, audits. Also, there are you invite the third parties. There are some consultants you hire to check the systems. But after that, when you get all the reports, and even from the government department, the system is checked. So when you get all the information, now you have to see what is there, what are the statistics I have, where we fall in the system. Okay, where we have the effectiveness. Okay, what is the level of that? So then you have to check, and that check is done through the top management. Who's the top management? Top management, your CEO, chairman of the industry, also your directors, vice presidents, all that. They sit together in the meeting room. They discuss. They see what is the legal issues, what is the environmental performance required to improve, where is it is required, and where are the gaps in the system. And whenever you check the system, even you check any system, like you are studying in your education, and you start today, you have the five elements. You start, I studied 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now you check this. I studied, and there is I learned this thing. I learned this thing, but here is the gap. I could not. What was the reason? There are different reasons behind that. Remember that whenever there is a gap, there is the different reasons, and the reasons start from the management issues. Remember, because I was also doing the investigation, especially with the aircraft. That is very critical. I work with the airlines. So when you review the system, you investigate the system, you find that the major issue always come through the management. What is the management? Management is the management is the part which is done by the organization, and that part is comes from the top management, like the implementation part. Like you have the managed system, Now you are communicating the management system, then implementing, then process, all that. When you review that part, you will feel the communication was not done properly. That was the issue. When they communicated the system, another issue, there was not properly implementing the processes, and there's the gap in the processes because the process is done not with all the protocols. So that is the issue actually. And when you are reviewing the system, you will find all these issues, and that is done on the management level. Why we implement it on the management level? Who can answer? Okay. Why we implemented on we review on the management level, like CEO is there, like chairman is there, like director and vice presidents are there, frontline people are there. Why you review this thing? This is the question. Yes. Why? Because we require the people who take the decision, because they will take the decision. They will see where are the gaps, where the resources required, where we need the gaps, who will do this part, and they make the action plan on that. So this is the way to implement EMS, environmental management system, or any management system. Okay, and this is the same protocols, same process, same way we conduct this activity, and this is that is called the continuous improvement. And then we will go again. You will improve your policies, you will improve your planning part, you will improve your implementation part. Even sometimes we need to improve your checking part, like auditing part, inspection part. That is not effective because remember that in the new system before there were other processes like other system like 2004 and 2007, and now ISO is 2015, EMS 14001, the 2015. The effectiveness is the word always review, okay, in the system, because that is very important. And remember that when you review your system, check the effectiveness of the part. And this is the whole cycle. In this cycle, what is this? A continuous improvement. We will come again with the policy planning, implementation, checking, and manual review, and then again you will improve the system. And yes.
Sir, in this, there is checking. Is it done internally or by a third party?
There are different ways actually, especially in ISO. When you are implementing, there are three ways. First, this is done by the inspection through the normal environmentalist or health and safety, EHS people. Second part is the internal audit team. Internal in the industry, there are internal audit department. They go for the checking. And who is the internal auditor department? You people will be the internal auditors. You will be the.
It is the part of same organization.
Yeah, this is the part of the same organization. You people will be the internal auditors. And remember that you are the blessed people. How? Because you are saving the world, you are saving the life, you are saving your surroundings. And this is the way to move forward. And this is the way to move forward with the strategy. Okay, this is the way to move forward with this approach. Then you will achieve all. Sometime because I'm doing the webinar also, and sometimes I interact the people. They always the question, why this? What is the benefit of this EMS? Even they are in the degree, they're in the sixth semester, and they're thinking where we'll go now. But you know this. You should know the importance of the EMS and importance of this degree. You can achieve a lot through this system. You can achieve a lot through your degree, and there are different ways you can move forward. I have the same degree. I have the same qualification, and we worked in Pakistan and across the world. I worked in most of these countries in different, more than I think 100 nationalities of work. Okay, so you can do, and you are the blessed people. Remember that. And if you go with this strategy, with this approach, you can do a lot for this world. You can do a lot for your people. You can do a lot for your surrounding. You can achieve really, and that is the way you. And the same way, if you implement this EMS, you can achieve very effectively. Okay. Yes, your question is okay now. You're okay, or you want to?
You want to say that there is internal checking?
Yeah, internal checking, internal audit department, and then ISO audit. Okay, so there are three ways, and there is a audit or surveillance, because in first time when you conduct the audit, second time we go for surveillance. So this is the, I will discuss in the next slides. There is about all this checking, but internally we check with the inspections, internal audit, and the external audit. And another thing, there is sometimes the audit from the EPA and audit from the other agencies. There is also some, and that is on the basis of the industry where you are working. In oil and gas, there's a different way. In the aviation, there is a different industry. There are different protocols and requirements. Okay. Okay, so this is the EMS model. We are going to discuss how you will implement. You already discussed this part. Okay, guys. So EMS through PDCA model. This is a PDCA. Okay, model. How you implement? We already discussed this in the previous discussion. So this is the same. You start with the planning. Then after the planning, you will go for the do. Do is about the implementation part. In the implementation part, you'll do implementation of your plans, trainings, communication, discussions, and then checking part, and then action plan you will conduct through the meetings. Okay, this is a management meetings. And whenever you go for the implementation of EMS or any management system, remember that you should have the good planning. You should have the proper implementation. You should have the proper checking and then review. Review through the top management. Then you can have the effective managed system. And if you have the managed system only in the documents, remember that that will not be effective. At the end of the day, it will come back to you. Or one more thing I want to discuss with you guys, because you people are working, or you people are working, or you people will be work with the industries, with the government departments, and with the different international organizations. Remember that when you have the system, you make sure that that is implemented. You make sure that you are with the organization they are implementing. Sometime it happened the organization they have the system in the documents and they are not implementing properly. What will happen? As a people, you are working like a legal people, your legal department, and it will come back to you. It will come back to you through the your company. It will come back to you through the legal department. It will come back to the international organization, and that will make the issue for you. So remember that you people have the responsibility, but and authority, but you are also accountable on that, because if you are working for any man system, you are accountable for that, and this is very important. You have to know. Okay, the scheme of environmental man system we already discussed. I will skip this thing. We'll go for the environmental compliance now. What is the environmental compliance? Actually, when you implement the environmental man system, now there is the area for the compliance. You have to monitor that environmental man system, and this is very important because you have the man system, you implement it. Now you require the compliance. What is the compliance? Who can answer me? कोई बता सकता है कंप्लायंस क्या है? आपको आवाज आ रही है? Okay. So compliance is the monitoring part. The monitoring part, when you implemented the environmental man system, now you have to check the system. The checking the system is through, I already discussed the inspections, audits, and the government departments or authorities and third-party inspections or the third-party audits. That is the way to make sure that your system, you are in compliance with the system. And what is the compliance actually? Compliance is, yes.
Actually, the setting of the standards, we comply with the standards in EMS setting. When we implement and when we plan and we check with the standards we have already set from ISO 14,001.
Excellent. This is the right answer actually. And this is the thing the standard can be anything. Maybe your, what you call ISO, maybe your aviation standard, oil and gas standard, any company standard. But she's absolutely right. When you implement the system, you make sure that you are meeting the requirements. You are meeting all the standard requirements. If you are meeting the standard requirements, it means you are in compliance with the standard. If you are not meeting the requirements, it means there is a non-compliance. And I will discuss with you in the audit part, what is the difference between the minor and major non-compliance part. Same, here's the conformity in fulfilling the official environmental requirements, including the legal and other requirements. What are the legal requirements related to environment? What are the legal requirements? Legal requirements, the EPA requirement, then government, civil aviation. What else? Yeah, international requirements. Yeah, that is also legal. When you have the EPA and then on the top of the other EPA in the world, also other top organization they are monitoring on the country level. So you have to meet all also international requirement. That is the That is the requirement for the compliance. So how you conduct the compliance part? This is very important. Train thoroughly, because when you want to conduct the compliance part, this is very important. You should train the people about the compliance. Okay, when you implement the EMS, all the organization required to be trained on the EMS. Then you have to know what are the processes. You have to be trained on that. This is the basic requirement, and this is the employer responsibility. Actually, this is the company responsibility, and this is the organizational responsibility. Second part is the review past mistake. So you have to check the system. This is very important. Then ensure the proper communication. I tell you something about the communication. I always stopped on this topic, really. Why? Because I always found the gaps in the communication. Whenever there is an issue come up, the issues come up due to the communication. Issues come up due to the lack of communication, miscommunication. People are not aware how to communicate. That is the reason. Okay, and the coordinate with the professionals, and focus on the risk management and check your equipment. Okay, so these all are the part related to compliance. You have to, and uh, what is the coordinate with the professionals? This is very important. When you are checking the compliance, you should have the professional compliance people. You should have the people who has the expertise on that, because if you are going to implement the EPA requirement, you must have the consultancy from EPA also, and you should the people should be involved on that. When you focus on the risk management, what is the risk management?
Analysis of risk, how much risk is involved in this letter, in this, in any sort of industry or in any sort of operation, and we minimize the risk factor, although we have not minimized it to zero.
Yeah. So you are working with any industry? I should remove this. No? So because she has a practical answer, that's why I'm asking. Yes. So risk management is the important part on the this any managed system. That is the core. Okay. When you start any system, you have to evaluate through the risk. And if you know the risk of that industry, you can you can establish the effective managed system. Okay, this is the way. If you start with the EIA or expect and impact assessment organization, and then you implement, you want to implement the managed system, you should start with that, because when you set the processes, you set the processes always on the basis of the risk, your risk. You should know about that. You should learn about the EIA and expect and impact assessment and the risk management. These are the three areas. And we are going to discuss about the risk assessment, but this is very important. You should have the grip on that. I already discussed with you three areas. What is that? This is the what you call this the EMS, including the risk assessment, also the this audit part and all that, and the compliance part. Okay, so you have to have this information on that. So benefit of information. Yes, yes.
If you are focusing that we should we should ensure the proper communication, how could that be ensured? What is the process practically that could be implemented in the industry, and what are the ways through which the proper communication can be ensured?
Okay, this is a very good question, and really this is very important nowadays. There are one area is the soft skills, and I sometimes I teach to the students and on the webinars. Um, Always there's a challenge in the organization practically how the communication is done and how it should be effectively communicated the things. The important thing is when you are communicating, you should measure that one. When you are start the communication, you start, there are different ways of communication. You are doing the direct communication and indirect communication. Direct communication, you are talking with the people, you are discussing as we are doing now. So this is a direct communication. You make sure that all the people, I'm asking the question to people because I don't want you to sleep. Okay, so that's why I want to make the effective communication with you people. So you start the direct communication and the indirect. Direct communication, you start with the, you talk with the people, you discuss with the people, you tell them this is the process, this is the way you have to implement, then involve in the activity. Remember that there is the one model you have to learn this. I done this training in America. That is called the 70-20-10 model. And the 70-20-10 model, when I'm talking to the people, when I'm talking to you guys, you are only learning 10%. You are not learning more than that. I practically implemented this thing. And when you go for this discussion part, you are discussing with your colleagues in seminars, in different platforms, you are learning 20%. But when you implement that part, you involve in the activities, you involve to conduct different activities on that, to implement part, then you learn 70%. And then you have near to 80, 90 or 100, that's still not 100%. Okay, so but when we communicate with the people through email, we expect that people are aware and now things are done. This is not the way. What he said about the communication is the very important. You have to understand what are the protocols. First, you will talk with the people directly. Then involve the people, how they are doing. You have to review the people. You make the groups in the people. You make the leaders in that, teams in that. And the teams you have to see how they are doing. Which team is performing properly. Then you can go for the implementation through the proper. Still, after that, you have to. Sorry. Can you fix this one? So, when you that part,
इस 9 बजे
then
चलन
you
रही
have to
3 बजे मुक्केगी जाके तो 1 पॉइंट मिलेगा.
that is the important part, and that is the way you to communicate. After that, one more thing I tell you, and how I check, because I worked with the world number 1 airline. I check the gaps in the communication. There are accidents due to miscommunication. There are different issues due to the lack of communication. And what was the reason? Because people are not exactly know what they are spending a lot of money, thousands of dollars to train the people. They are not training the people on the communication skills, and that is very important. And that is the way you should start with the proper direct communication, then involve in the activity, then review that, then review the system. Mostly, major part the communication. Okay. Any other questions you want to?
Listen, I just want to ask in a way that's kind of, is there any method of evaluation with communication? For example, either it could be evaluated whether communication is well or not at the check part, or it could be done in between.
This is the, and this is my question also. Okay, so I done this part actually. I was auditor in the company. I have to do a lot for that, and still there's no hard and fast rule. There's no tools to check the communication, because the reason I tell you, every organization, there's the way of communication is different. Every organization, there are protocols are different. And also, if you go on the international level, there are different other challenges, language barriers, your ethics, your cultures, your lot of things. If you say one word in one language, that is not good, and other language, that is you can praise the people. So this is the thing. So there is not really the fix or the hard and fast rule, but there are the way I told you the practical way. When you start with the direct, go with the direct communication, that is most important thing. Then you should see also connect with the indirect communication. Then you can review that. That is the way. Maybe there is other tool, I don't know, but I never see that one, because I work with the different people, and I never see any tool special to like we can measure the communication, because the communication really critical part in any organization and any system. It's okay. Okay. So benefits of environmental compliance, safe environment, that is always the intent. Second is the reduce the carbon footprints, then the cost reduction, corporate social responsibility, and the business profitability. And this is the main part of also the implementation of environmental management system, and you review in the compliance part also that. ISO standard you already discussed. I think we should not go much on that. ISO standard was developed by the representative from our 50 countries around the world, maybe more than 100, but the most of the main 50 countries, they are always involved in that, and they are. And why do the ISO 14001 standard apply? This is very important. I have the experience on that. Actually, we implemented the environmental management system, and that is not effective. Reason, because there was no proper system. There was no proper standard for that. If I give you the start the EMS implementation, you will make the policy, procedures, plans, and all that, and you will implement. But you will not have the proper standard requirement. Then what happened when we focus on that? It should be done through the standard. Okay, through the standard, because there are different requirements, and that is already checked and implemented across the world, all type of organizations. And then that requirement come up, you should start with the EMS, ISO 14001. And that is really, if you learn the ISO 14001, you can you can understand the 45001 OHS, you can learn the quality management system 9001. This all three standards are same now. After 2015, when they develop the standards, they develop the standard in the way they can integrate with each other. Okay, so if you learn the ISO 14001, you can say, yes, I know the 9001 and 45001, because these three standards can be implemented, and most of the companies, they require to implement it. They cannot get the contracts, they cannot sell their products, they cannot go in the market and work with the international organization. This is necessary nowadays. They must have these standards, and they must have the ISO for these standards. Because I'm the ISO consultant also. I'm providing the ISO consultancy for the companies. We are conducting the audits to the companies, and we are providing the ISO certification. We have that from UK and USA approval, and we are conducting. And that is very important. You should know when you learn this ISO 14001, mean you know about the 14 and 9001 and 45001. These all are same, because after 2015 they developed the same requirements. So the ISO 14001 standard can be applied to the large and small industry, service sectors, government organization, and all type of organization with any size. In this organization, you can implement ISO. You have the ISO 14001? No? Okay. Use of ISO 14001 EMS, a way of managing an organization's environmental aspects. Okay, you have to know the environment. This organization, if you're working in UAT, you should know what are the environmental aspects here and what are the impacts. Also uses the high level structure, can be easily integrated into the existing environment. If you have an already in any management system, environmental management system, you can integrate the ISO 14000 with that. This is very simple now, because all the requirement are the same now. Most of because I implemented ISO 14001, another system for the aviation that is called INVA. That is same standard they have for the aviation, that is from IATA. So IATA, they have the same. So I implemented both. Requirements are same. Only maybe 10% is difference in the requirement, because INVA, they have less requirement than the ISO 14001. So all the international standards, even civil aviation, the IATA, different other bodies, oil and gas, they are implementing the same standards and the same requirements, and they are integrating with each other. Okay, is the ISO 14000 EMS audits are essential. Now we're moving to audits part. And this is very important, why you should understand. Who want to be the auditor? Who want to be you have any objectives, or you have any plan for this year, 2023? You set your objectives or not? No, no worries. No worries. You should have your every year, set your objectives while you study and for your learning and development. That is where to you grow in your career. Okay. So when you go for the ISO 14001 EMS audit, you should know why it is essential, why it is the requirement. Managed system audits are the essential elements of any organization. The general objectives audits are that determine the conformity or non-conformity to meet the effectiveness of implementation and improve the EMS. Three areas, okay, discussing here. Why it's essential? First, conformity and non-conformity. Second, who will tell me? I want to hear you guys. Otherwise, I think you are not with me. Second part, effectiveness. And third part, improve the managed system. So this is the way actually. And when you will speak with me, it means you learn now. Okay. And this is the communication I want from you people. Okay. Because I have first interaction, so I don't want to bother you people, but we should have good discussion. Okay, so EMS auditing, what is that? Auditing means the critical, systematic, and documented evaluation. Okay, now three parts. If you talk about the inspection, that is different, because always the question come up in the interview and any exam or anywhere. What is difference between the inspection and the audit? Inspection is just you'll go for the walk around, you'll go for the out and you'll check without any plan. There's no plan is required for inspection. If I talk to the people, okay, you can go for the inspection for that area and check what is the related to waste management. You will go out, you will check, take your checklist, you will take this part is okay, and this part is not okay. So this is your inspection. But the audit is the different. Audit, you go with the plan, you will share the plan with the auditing, with the company where you are going to audit. You will send the notification. That is the way you will go, and notification should be, there should be appropriate time in between your audit and the notification. And the standard time is the 1 month. You will send the notification before 1 month. Then after the notification, you should plan the activities with your team. You will assign the auditor, who will be the auditor, who will be the lead auditor, because at least 2 auditors are required, or lead auditor and the auditor, and maybe the 2-3 auditors are required on the basis of the organization. And the next part, what you will go for the execution of the audit, and that start with the meetings. This is the audit, typical audit activities. If you know this activity, you are the auditor. If you know this slide, you guys are auditor. Okay, I can say you guys are auditor. So first part is the audit plan, what I discussed. Then the audit notification. I told you, you will send the audit notification as an auditor, assign the role and responsibility, who will be the auditor, and then the communication during the audit. Yes, you start with the opening meeting, you will make the communication. Then during the audit, you will communicate with the different people and review the documentation and different other activities in the organization. And next part, after that, you will collect the evidences. Where are the gaps? Okay. And this is very important part. Then you will go with your team, you will sit together, you will conclude what, because there are 3 persons. How I conduct the audit, I tell you my experience. I'm always the lead auditor, because I had the audits for local and international. So mostly when I go for, I had the team. So I start with the opening meeting. Then I give the responsibilities during, before that, I already decided with the team who will do what are your responsibilities. But during the audit, again, after that opening meeting, I tell, okay, maybe sometime we change the responsibilities on the basis of the different activities or the time or all that. So I give the 1 person will go for the document review. Okay, or 2 person will go. There is a huge organization, 2 person will go for document review. 1 person will go for the site observation and all that, and I will go for interview. Because I mostly like to interview the top management, because interview with the responsible accountable manager is very important. Like chairman is here. So as an auditor, you can go for to the chairman or the representative of him, like vice president, anybody, you can go that. So in interview part with that, and then managers, and then frontline people. So this is the way to conduct the audit. Okay, and that is very interesting part when you are conducting the audit. So these are the 3. After that, what you will do, you will go for you will discuss with the team, and then you will go for the closing meeting, and then audit report and follow up. We are going to discuss in the next slides. So how you set the criteria for the audit? This is very important. You should know really, because when you are going to audit, you set the policies, procedure, requirements. You should know what are the, and the audit criteria are used a reference against which audit evidence is compared. And this is very, because it requires what we are going to check, and the conformance with which standard will be there. Like sometime we have the ISO 14001 audit, sometime we have the product audit, sometime we have the different other legal compliance audit. So it depends on that. So now we reached on the day of the audit. On the day of the audit, we start with the opening meeting. What is the opening meeting? I discussed now. Anybody can tell me? What is the opening meeting?
Questions and signing responsibilities and roles.
Excellent. So yeah, you're right. You're right. So opening meeting on the day of the audit, the head of the company or his or her representative chair that audit team meeting, and there is the lead auditors and the team. There's the auditor. Other side, there are the responsible managers and the responsible people in the of the company, and then they discuss what they discuss. What is the agenda of that? They discuss the audit objective. They discuss the scope of the audit. They discuss the functions of the units, different units, the ISO standards, all that. They discuss what is the reference, because it's not you are going to audit, that will be the only the ISO 14001. There can be other standards also. There can be the legal requirement standard and other standards also. Okay. Then after that, you will discuss the locations. What are location you are going to audit that, and the dates and the duration of the audits, and also the audit evidence, how you will collect that thing. you will tell them what will the activity you will perform. During the opening meeting, you can discuss with those guys, and also the roles and responsibility, who's the lead auditor, who's the auditor, and other auditor you will discuss. And this is the opening meeting. This is a quick meeting. You only discuss all these things, you inform them, and then you go for the audit. That audit can be done on the 1 day, 2 day, or 3 day, depends, sometimes 5 days, up to 5 days we can, depend on the organization and also the requirements. Okay, so what is the purpose of what you will do during the audit? You will see you will collect the audit evidence. You will see where are the gaps. Okay, you will see where are the improvements are required. Because if you are going to conduct the EMS audit, you will see what this system is implemented, but where are the gaps, where improvements are required, where the system required the more efficiency. So you can check all these things, the effectiveness. I remember that this word effectiveness. Again, I'm repeating 2 words I am repeating since I started. One is the communication. Second is effectiveness. And this is important when you are working in the practical manner. You are working with the organization, with any company, anywhere. Okay. So interview, you start, it depends on the audit team where they start. They start with the interview, they start with observation or documentation. These are the activities you will perform during the audit. And record. Also, you will check the reports and also performance indicator in the organization. There are many other documents. There is the one standard slide that mentions what documents and the requirements, and you check that during your audit. And this is very important. When you are conducting the audit, you are conducting as per scope. What is the meaning of scope? Who will tell me? I discussed in the previous slide. Scope is mean you as an auditor, you go for the ISO 14001 audit. You should not move to the other scope, like you should not make other standard or any other requirement with that. You will stick with your scope. As an auditor, this is the protocol. You have to go for that. Okay, if you observe that, you can tell them verbally, but you should not focus on that. Your focus is only that standard requirement. And this is the requirement of the standard as an auditor. Okay. Is very important. Again, we have to discuss. So what is the observation? Observation means you are going to the audit, like in this university, I'm for the audit, or you are auditor. So you go for the lab, you will go for the waste management area, you will go for how you use your services. Also, you have a lot of papers here, how you collect the paper, how you dispose of the papers. You have the bottles, you have the cafeteria, a lot of other environmental aspects are there. So you can check all these things during the observation, and you can see what are the requirements and what are the gaps. This is an important thing. Okay. Next is the documentation. In this organization, what are the documents? What is your EIA? What is your impact and impact assessments? Okay. What are your processes? Are these processes are implemented effectively or not? That is important. And who will decide these processes are effectively implemented or not? How you will decide? Now the questions, practical questions.
They are as per standards. If the processes are as per standards,
Yes.
such standards, then they are implemented effectively.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
they are not, then vice versa.
Yeah. If you have the process you have the process written, check the process step by step. And I will discuss about the sampling also. What is the sampling? Because when you are going for the audit, you cannot check all the activities. Okay. You will not be able to check all the activities in the EMS. So you go for the sampling. Sampling, what is the sampling? You do the sampling in the labs, but this is different sampling actually. As an auditor, there are 10 activities or 20 processes are going on, or 50 processes are going on. You cannot check all the processes in the day or 2 days. Maybe it take 1 month. So in the audit, because you check A to Z, you start from the procurement and then all the steps, all the way you'll go up to the disposal, the life cycle you can check. So what you will do, you will pick the critical areas like the waste management, disposals, also impact and impact assessment, processes implementation, all. So you can check the major part in that organization, and then you can go for that. You have to check that part, and then you see where are the gaps. And then the gaps are always identified as per the requirements. Okay. If there is the not written the requirements, then you can discuss as observation, but you cannot go for the non-compliance and all that. Okay. And after that, you will check also the records. They have the different records, the environmental reports, all that, the performance indicator, incident records. There are many other documents you can check during the audit. So for the audit, what you document you required, always you require a checklist. What is the checklist? If you are, yes, very good. So if you are going to conduct the ISO 9001, ISO 14001 EMS audit, there is the checklist, and the checklist is developed as per the requirements, standard requirements. Different companies, they are developing their own checklist. Okay. And this is depend on the auditor or lead auditor. They in the company, they have the checklist. For the internal auditor, mostly they develop the internal audit checklist. Okay. And they go for that. But for external audits like ISO audit, the checklist is developed as per the company processes or the company functions. Okay. Audit sampling plan, I already discussed. You will plan the sampling before going to the audit. You have to check in the documents, the manual, what are the processes they have, what are the critical areas they have, and where are the, where can be the major gaps in the organization. Then you go for the sampling plan. The sampling plan, you check those major activities and you check that one. And when you check the activity, you go from A to Z. Like you start with the, what is the procedure for that, the training, implementation, also the everything what is written in that process you have to check A to Z, and you make sure that evidence are there. Remember that audit is always conducted on the basis of evidences. If they say they implemented this EMS or this process, until the evidence is there, you will not accept that. Okay. So you should make sure that evidence. Let's suppose in this organization, you have the waste management plan, and they said, yes, we have the waste management plan, we have properly implemented, and we have meeting the requirements. Now you have how you will check. The example is how you will check. You will check through the what is the management system plan. Then how you communicate with the people. Where's the training plan? Okay, for the people, where's the training for that? Then how you dispose of this, all this process, how you implemented that. After that implementation, how you make sure that this is the auditing, how you are checking this, how you are monitoring this process. So this is the way you do the activity for the sampling. And for each activity, each specific activity, you should go for the evidence for each and every steps. This is the sampling. Okay. Okay, format for capturing the evidence, you must have this, the non-compliance format, also the observation and all that, non-conformity format, major and minor non-conformists. Is there a difference between those? What is that? You can tell me what is the difference between this?
Well, if there is any,
Yeah, they are looking at each other. So what is difference between size? Is there a different size? Minor size. Yeah, but there is a huge size, the major and minor, huge difference between major and minor non-compliance. Major non-compliance, what is the non-compliance? You told me before, what is the non-compliance? You told us before. We are meeting not the requirements, okay? That is non-compliance, is it? You told me? Or who told me? Somebody told me from here. The non-compliance, when you are checking during the activity and the activities are not as per the requirement, that is the non-compliance. But the non-compliance can be minor or major on the basis of implemented application. How? I give you one example. Like what you in the procurement life cycle assessment procedure was implemented. Okay, but that was not updated. You can see the people are aware about the procedure or all the requirements, but in the documents that is not implemented or that is not updated. Okay, so you can say, okay, the system is there, only the documents required to implement. You can say this is a minor. You can put in the minor non-compliant. But the major is if the life cycle process is not available in the procurement. That system is not available, or maybe change management of change process is not available. Whenever you are implementing any new you are bringing in new chemicals or you are bringing any new equipment, there is no management of change process. So if the complete process are not available or the major part is not available, major part is not missing, then there is the major non-compliance. You have to know. This is also not hard and fast rule. Some people also in the minor, they are adding the major. It depends on the auditor also. Okay, so audit conclusion after the, so what activities up to this? First, the opening meeting we done. Then we done the, what part? Auditing. Next, we decide what are the non-compliance. Now we are going to finalize the audit. The audit team meet together. They have the audit conclusion meeting, and they discuss all the audits, the findings, okay, related to EMS, and they discuss these are the findings from the different area. They agreed on that, and then they go for the closing meeting. And the closing meeting is managed by the lead auditor, and he start with the closing remarks, and then the audit findings and the method of reporting he will discuss. Also, he'll discuss the process of handling and the audit reports and the audit follow-up. One thing remember, as a lead auditor, when you are talking or the auditor, when you are sitting with the in the closing meeting, you should not say really the negative remarks or the organization or the, because you can see during the audit, you can find many negative things. There is no organization culture. There is no culture, environmental culture among the teams. The people are not aware. They don't care about the environment. They don't care about the process. They don't have the information. So you should not be like, as an auditor, always go with the positive remarks. You can say, okay, thank you very much for your all support and the audit, all that. And then you start with the discussion on where are the gaps actually, and where you show them you want to improve the system. If you'll show them as an auditor, you will want to improve the system, they will listen you, they will care your words. And this is the way to communicate with the people, okay? And then you can tell them all the finding, and on the agreed finding, then you can send them through the report and tell them the time frame of the report and how you will follow up. Up to here is clear? Any question? Okay, so audit report should include the audit objectives, scope, and the criteria. You will write in the audit report, and then you will write the also the activities audited during the audit, and date and locations. Also the audit team members, audit findings, audit conclusion, statement of confidentiality, because you will keep all the information confidential. This is very important. As an auditor, there is a code of conduct. Okay, when you will see any information, because you can access all the information from HR to the processes, statistics, everything you can access on the organization. Then this is the responsibility of the, and there's a ethics, it's a code of conduct. You should keep all the information confidential, and this is the important requirement. Okay, then the audit conclusions you will add statements. Yes, already discussed, and distribution list you will add in the where this audit report will go. Okay, we already discussed about the ISO 14000 history. It started 1992. This ISO 14000 first, this was the BS standard 7750. After that, in 1996, first issue was released. This ISO 14001 1996. Then second was 2004, sorry, and third was the 2015. And we are still using that one, 2015. And 2015 is very effective actually. That system can be integrated with other management systems like quality management system and health and safety management system. And mostly organization, they go for the integrated management system. They go for the EHSQ, QHSC, HSCQ, like that. They are going for the managed systems. Yes, these are the clauses in the ISO 14001 2015, and in this you can see the different clauses, but always we start the audit from class 4. Start the audit from class 4. You can tell me. First class related to scope, then definitions and references, all that. So practical, we start to review the organization activities from class 4 to 10, and we'll discuss that. So class 4 to 10, we prepare the checklist as per the organization, and those clauses we discussed. You ever seen the ISO standard for 14,001 complete standard? Who has the complete standard? Okay. It can be shared with all the people because this is very important. You should know what is written in the standard and all that. So that standard is very important. Whenever you go for the audit, EMS audit, you go with that standard and as well as the checklist, and you will implement that you will check that requirement as per the standard, and mostly you check through the checklist, but the standard should be there because if you want to verify again, you can check. There is no worry about it. Yes, you can ask the question.
I go to aerospace standard AS 9100. They are the same clauses which have.
Yeah, actually, mostly the 9001, 14, 45, they are they can be integrated, and mostly the organization they are implementing these standard together because if you go for any contract and any approval or any approval as a contractor company or anywhere in the locally internationally, you required these three ISO implementation. You must implement that. You have the approval from that ISO. Okay, you are certified company from those organizations, and the mostly mostly the manufacturers, service providers, all that they are implementing that. And these three system they can be integrated. Okay, in any organization, there's no issue for that. Okay. So there are 10 requirements. This first three is the scope, normative reference, and term and conditions. These are about the only informative. And we start the implementation, the context of organization. This is the four one. Okay, we'll go for the next. On the right side, you can see the context of organization. This is about the organizations, okay, mostly this clauses, and mostly they are determining what is the scope of EMS, the environmental management system develop, and the requirements are set on this as per this requirement. Then the leadership, how the leadership and the policy and all roles and responsibilities are done in the clause 5, and under 5.123 there is written. And the sixth clause, the right side, the planning, that is also related to the environmental aspect and impact assessment, the EIA and all that. And class 7 is the support, and that is related to the competence, also the communication and document information. Communication you can check from this class 7. This is very important part. Operation is also in the class 8, and that is related to your organization planning and control and the emergency part. And 9 is related to 9 is very important because in this class you check the compliance, you check the competency of your people, you can check the competency of the auditors. Okay, as an environmental management system experts, or as an environmental management system the auditor, you must have the qualification on ISO 14001, and that is the requirement. And the operation part, you will go for the operation planning and emergency and all that. Sorry, this is the 9, the performance, and 10 is related to improvements. You can check the improvements, how this review part, especially the action plan, the review, all that you can check from this requirements.
Where are the information for first three clauses?
What are the ISO 14001 the EMS certification? There is the process to go for the ISO 14001 certification. How the organization go for the certification? What is what certification I'm talking? ISO certification. Yes. How organization go? This is the process we are going to discuss. Actually, first they review internally. What are the requirements? They set the management system. They implement. Okay. Then.
The third party also auditing the organization.
Yes. So first they implement it, then they go for the third party audit. Good. Next. I want to hear, actually, you people are good, really. Okay. So then what you will go, you will go for implement the EMS. Then you will go for the internal audit, your company audit. Then you will go for the third party, that is stage 1 audit. And then you will go for the stage 2 audit, that is the But if you go for the stage audit, in between there's a 6-month gaps and you can improve your as per the gaps. Okay. And then you will go for the stage 2 audit, that the certification audit. After the certification audit, if you pass all the you complete all the, you meet all the compliance requirement, then you go for the that surveillance, you will get the certification, and after 1 year you will have the surveillance audit. Okay, so this is the way to get the complete the certification, and then you will go recertification and audits and all that, and you will maintain your ISO certification. What is the auditor conduct? This is very important: polite, professional, positive, commitment, and formal, not overly serious. And the auditor, if you are the auditor auditing, always this is a challenge, because auditors are coming, they will check everything, you have the responsibilities, you will be presenting everything to them, but do not panic. This is very simple. He will check only the requirement. You know what requirements are there, what are not there. Be fair, be honest, and but don't hide. Actually, if they find something for improvement, this is good for your organization. As an auditor or as an auditee, this is good for you. So do not panic. Ask and clarify. Admit obvious non-conformist. If there is the non-conformist, admit that one, accept that one. Tell them, yes, we are in the plan, we are conducting, but accept that one. And offer the evidence and explain patiently. Take note of the improvements area highlighted by the auditor. Benefit of EMS audit, we already discussed in the previous slides. Now I will go for the health and any question related to EMS audits and everything. Because next slide we are going to the health and safety and see time. So okay, I integrated this health and safety and this all together. This is very important you people learn, because this is always when you are going in the industry, you have the challenge, because always in the industry sometimes they are integrating, and you should learn this thing. This is the mostly in the occupational health and safety or safety management system. It depends on the organization what they give terminology they use. The policy, organizing, planning, same evaluation and action of improvement and the audit. So if you go for the policy, then you go the plan, implementation, check, same what we discussed in EMS. So policy is the policy is the clear statement of the commitment to the health and safety. Organizing in the roles and responsibility. Planning and implementation is your arrangements on to manage the. Okay, what are the arrangements to manage the HS, health and safety, or occupational health and safety? What are the arrangements? If anybody asks you what are the arrangements in organization for health and safety or EMS, what are arrangements or procedures? Your administrative part. Okay. So in the organization, when you have the procedure, those are your process, those are your arrangements. Planning and implementation, you must have the organization evaluation, audits, action for improvements, and continue improvement. What we discussed in the emails, the same is here. There are three major elements in the health and safety: process, people, and physical environment. What is the process? Process is your procedures, risk assessments, and regulations, policies. And the people is your value, attitude. These are relevant to that: attitude, beliefs, behaviors, and leadership. And physical environments, the plant, equipment, and tool. And remember that these three areas are major to implement any safety culture in the organization. When you have the effective processes, you are implementing properly with the good communication, and people believe on that, people follow that. Okay, what is the belief? This is very important. When you implement that, remember that people should accept that. They should believe on that. They should not say this is not. Yes. Yes. Yes, you're right. So the behavior that should be the positive always to the health and safety on the environment. Okay, and the leadership is important. You all are leader. Okay, if you are leading the people. You are telling the people this is correct, this is wrong in your area. You are the leader. Okay, so that is always required. Then you have to see how the maintaining the plant, equipment, tools, and the site buildings, like services, all that in the buildings. You can call the facility management, how they are conducting. This all is the part of that. Okay, this is the incident model in the process industry. That is the always start with the process safety and accidents, near misses, and all the process safety management system. failure and how what is the impact on that, what is the result of that, the fatality, lost work days, medical treatment, first aid, and unsafe acts. So you have to understand what are the risk in this organization, what incident can happen, and what is the impact on that. That is always come through the risk assessment. We are going to discuss in next slide. OHS policy, we already discussed about that and OHS policy is the document, the foundation stone of good health and safety management system in the organization. It's always set the organization aim, also the responsibilities and the organizational requirements. Okay, why we implement this all OHS and all that? Why it is required? If we will not implement, what will happen? Actually, this is the legal requirement. Actually, this is a yeah. What's it? Yeah, no, this is a legal requirement first. This is an international requirement under the ILO, International Labour Organization. Okay, they want this one, health and safety system, occupational health and safety management system. Okay, there is one another clause C155, and in that clause there is a requirement the employer should provide the safe workplace with the risk assessment information, all that. And the Article 14, the ILO recommendation R164, there is the requirement, the required employer to set down the writing policy and arrangements for health and safety management, and where the circumstance warrant and all this language in the same language. Actually, when you go in the different countries, they have the policies and the information in the same language. Like in the Europe, they have their own language. In Middle East, they have in Arabic, Urdu, Indian, different other language, Arabic, and other countries there. In Pakistan, we have in Urdu also. So it depends where they are implementing. Yes. Yes, smart. What is smart? This is very important. You should know all this. You guys are smiling. What is smart? What is that? Yeah. If you smart, if you set your goals or objective, remember that you should set the smart way. Okay, what is smart? The specific. You should have the clear, defined, precise goals. Okay, or objectives. Second is the measurable. You can measure towards a target or quantify it. Okay, you can measure that one. Also the achievable. When you are setting the goal for this year, and but if that is not achievable, maybe that should be in the 3 year, 5 year. So you should measure that is proper, and for this particular time, you can that reasonable within the time scale. Okay, and the time bound, the deadline you should add in that. Okay. If you go in that, it will be the important to consider who will going to set the objective. Who set the objective in the organization, in your company, in your university? Top management. But your objective, who will set? You will set. And you will do the SWOT analysis every year. You know the SWOT analysis. Yeah, you should conduct your SWOT analysis. Okay, so how the objectives will be set to each function level, legal and other requirement, hazards and risk, technological operations, and the financial, operational, and business requirement and view of the interested parties. Interested parties, who are the interested parties in the organization? Yeah, customers, your suppliers, contractors. Organizational roles and responsibilities. There are different roles and responsibilities always in the organization from top to down. When you are implementing, there should be organization chart. The accountable manager is the managing director or CEO of the company. And then after that, the directors. Sure. I'm going to close. Managers, supervisors, and employers. Okay. And then arrangements. Okay, so these are the different levels. When you are implementing from top to down, and these are the levels through this you are implementing. Arrangements we already discussed about all the procedures and related to health and safety. Those are your arrangements, and you are implementing. A specific risk problem. Okay, risk assessment is very important part. We'll discuss the major part of that. What is different between hazards and risk? You know about that? What you know about that? Hazards and risk. Hazards is the something that can potentially cause harm, and the risk is likelihood and the severity of that hazard. Okay, and after that, risk-based approach. When you are implementing any management system, any health and safety management system, go with the risk management approach. What is the risk management approach? You will go for the hazard identification, then risk assessment, and then the control measures. Okay, you will implement, and this is the way to implement the managed system. Okay, you will find the effective managed system if you will go through this approach. There are different steps for that. Identify the hazards and identify the first. You will go for the risk assessment. You will identify the hazard. Second, you will go for the who is on the harm, who can get the injury or accidents. Third, you will evaluate the hazards. That's the risk assessments. That's the evaluation. Fourth is you will record the significant finding, and then you will review and update that one. These are the 5 steps. You have any question up to this? So this is the part we done the EMS, also the auditing and the OHS management, and also the risk assessment. You have any question, you can ask me. Yes.
Extend these ISO standards towards the implementation of the manufacturing of the varnishing because that makes the Indian description.
Can you speak again loudly, sir?
We extend these ISO standards towards the electric, the manufacturing of the varnishing and the description. These are next.
So your question is, can we implement this highest standard for manufacturing industries?
Yeah, of the varnishing, the modern aircraft and
Yeah. This is very important because if you talk about the aviation industry, there are 3 major standards that is the requirement: the quality management system, health safety management system, that is SMS. They call the SMS, and third is the EMS. And the EMS that come from IATA, that is the INOA. This is the IATA Environmental Assessment Standard. So that is implemented. That is not the ISO, but ISO is also implemented. But if we go for the specific, that is the IATA Environmental Standard. Okay.
Sir, why not the IDA that IDA is working for the varnishing? If they will be disorder of a environment, they have to buy the JNC, which is for 65 million US dollars. Pakistan is not in financial condition to buy the JNC, but we have to buy it. So, don't you think there should be a range of this establishment of the
actually, it depends on the organization. So your question is why we don't have in the Pakistan. So it depends on the organization. When we are working on the international level, because sometimes we get the fines and all that, that is the reason, because we don't have the applicable applications or the implementation. So this is depend on this is the requirement, but sometimes they don't meet the requirement. Sometimes that is not necessary actually. So it depends on the organization. When they implement that, they work in the organized manner. They can implement the systems. They can improve the environmental performance and the footprints and all that. So that is the requirement. But sometimes this is not necessary, and they take as advantage and they don't implement. So that is the reason. Your question answer is clear now, or do you have any other question? It's okay. Huh? Any other question? Any other questions you have? Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. There is a prayer lunch break. The management team is requested to lead the respected guests to the refreshment area. Thank you.
आपने नाम की ब्रेक है तो आप लोग काइंडली नमाज और अपने रिफ्रेशमेंट वगैरह कर लें। पार्टिसिपेंट्स जो हैं एक्सटर्नल पार्टिसिपेंट्स को मेरे साथ आ जाए, मैं ब्रेक करता हूँ और हम आधे घंटे के बाद इंशाल्लाह all the students are advised to reach back to the seminar hall after half an hour so that we be resume another wonderful interactive session with Mr. Aftab Alam Khan साहब, जिनकी प्रोफाइल आपने ब्राउज़र पे देखी भी है, or he is going to discuss something related to climatic changes and industrial revolution. So it would be an interesting talk, and you all are requested to come back after half an hour. Thank you very much.
Thank you.